How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios, and I just want to talk to you guys about this Control 24 that I recently purchased, uh, the benefits of having a mixing controller, and then why I'm actually going to be selling it because it didn't quite work out for my current setup. So I'm gonna tell you why it didn't work out. So a couple videos ago, I made a video on how to get Pro Tools 10 on your updated Mac operating system, and that works out. It doesn't crash or anything like that, but there's one problem, and the big reason why I'm going to be selling this is because on Pro Tools 10, where this is the last supported, if this worked on Pro Tools 11, for sure would be keeping it. I love getting my hands on the faders. It just feels different. It feels better. But because it doesn't work with Pro Tools 11 and Pro Tools 10, I was having an issue with some of my plugins. So you have to use different versions of plugins on Pro Tools 10 compared to Pro Tools 11. And on Pro Tools 10, when I installed all of those older versions of the plugins, I had to uninstall my newer ones. And by doing that, it doesn't reinstall some of the newer plugins that Waves has released, and one of those plugins is a big part of my mastering chain. So I would have to get rid of one of my mastering chain plugins in order to use this Control 24. And I thought about it for a little bit, but it always comes down to the sound quality. Yes, it feels great to have your hands on the faders and everything, but it's not enhancing my sound quality by keeping this. It's actually going to lose some quality by getting rid of that one plugin that I use in my mastering chain. So after thinking about it for a couple days now, I can't sacrifice sound quality over a preference of mixing. So what I was thinking is I could sell this, and then if I feel like it in the future, get a control surface that is actually supported in my current setup. Some people were asking, why don't you just downgrade to operating system that supports Pro Tools 10 and then use all the plugins just as is through that. But I have the issue that ScreenFlow, which I'm using to record my screen on, that wouldn't work on the old system. Just a lot of my programs need the newest operating system, so I came into a lot of issues. Everything works great on my new operating system except Pro Tools 10, getting all my Waves plugins going, all of that stuff. So unfortunately, I cannot use this Control 24 because it will hurt my sound quality, and I don't want that to happen. So that's the reason I have to get rid of it already. And it's not because I don't like it. I do. It's just issues with my current setup. It doesn't function with Pro Tools 11 or anything like that. So unfortunately, Avid, well, it was DigiDesign, but now Avid, they won't make a updated version for Pro Tools 11 or 12 because they have the C24 now, and they're trying to sell that. So they're phasing this one out. But one of the points I wanted to make in this video is don't buy gear like just because it looks cool or because you think someone else might have bought it and then their sound is good, so you think, okay, I'll buy it, my sound will become good like that as well. Most likely it's not just one piece of gear that makes your sound better. Buying a mixing board, this doesn't have any magical button on it to make your music sound professional. It all comes down to a nice, clean, dry recording and going in with a clean mix to get a nice balanced sound and then a solid master on it. So it just comes down to technique, and you can make a great sounding song in a bedroom, a hotel, anything like that, and you can make a crappy song in a professional studio. So it just comes down to a lot of technique. Yes, you need basic gear to get a good sound, but something like this is not going to improve sound at all. Majority of people who have this board will buy external preamps because the preamps in this board don't sound good. This is pretty much just for being able to get your hands on the faders and control everything in Pro Tools right here on the desk instead of clicking with a mouse. So that's a big thing with these controllers. It's just a way to control Pro Tools. But yeah, that's the whole point, is don't think gear is the answer to a better sound. Just because, say, myself or anybody else that you see purchase a piece of gear, that doesn't mean you need to purchase that same piece of gear. So that's what some people do. I know with like my how to set up a home studio videos that I've made, a lot of people are like, oh, I bought the compressor. How do I make it sound good? And you should be having a decent sound. Like, the compressor's not an answer to having a better sound. It's not gonna just make your vocals sound better all of a sudden. It's just a compressor. It just controls dynamics. You could add a little bit of a warmth or a little bit more texture to the vocal, but not a huge difference to where if you had a bad vocal and then you bought the compressor, it's not going to make a bad vocal turn good. So most likely it's the room you're in, or it might be that you're using a microphone with high self-noise ratio. So like maybe there's a lot of hiss in there, so you're wondering why that's in there. Maybe you don't have a treated room, so you're hearing reflections or a room reverb. So it could be stuff like that. But the whole point is just don't throw money at gear. Instead, perfect what you already have. And just, even if it's just stock plugins, even if it's just a low-end mic, use what you have to get the best sound possible, and then upgrade as you go. So I've gone through several different studio setups since I started, and I didn't upgrade until I felt I had the time. I put in enough work and I felt like it was time to upgrade. Also, majority of the stuff that I started with, I was putting out these videos and getting work based on my sound quality. Back when I was using like $150 interface, and I've been using this mic since way back. This is my go-to mic for everything. AKG C214. It's not that expensive. It's just nice, clean, clear mic. I've had the most basic gear and still have been able to gain work and grow this channel and everything like that. So just don't put everything into buying new gear. Learn. That's the number one thing, is learn how to do stuff. Learn from watching videos, YouTube videos. Learn from just practicing. Download stems. A lot of people have free stems that you could download and practice your mixing on. There's a lot of contests out there. So if you want some free stems, I'll put a link below that you could get some stems to practice with. There's like Pensado's Place has a lot of contests on, I think it's Indaba. They have a mixing contest going on right now. So that's something you could practice with those stems, even if you don't enter the contest. Another good thing to do is to download these like acapellas and then see if you could record in your version and match the quality of those vocals. So that's a good way to compare your vocals to a professionally recorded vocal, and then you could see, okay, what sounds different between the two. So maybe theirs sounds like it has no plosives or anything like that. So you need to put a pop filter in front of your mic, or maybe they have more high end in it. So maybe you need to clean out the lows or add a little bit of highs, just to give you an idea of what it is that your vocals are doing different. Maybe you hear room reverb in your vocals, but not in the professionally recorded one. So now you know you need to treat your room better. There's all kinds of things to do. So that's what I did for a long time, just comparing stuff. I didn't rush out and buy a bunch of expensive gear because I didn't have the money to do it. And you shouldn't be thinking gear is the answer, because it's not. So nice gear sounds nice if you know how to use it. That's just what it comes down to. So learn how to do all the techniques before you throw a bunch of money at it, because once you learn the techniques, you'll start getting more work, and then you'll be able to afford to buy that better gear. So that's how the progress should go. But that's my little rant on why gear is not the answer. Unfortunately, I will be selling this Control 24 because it doesn't work with Pro Tools 11, and I was trying to pull off using Pro Tools 10 on my current setup, but because of plugin issues, I won't be able to do that as well. So unfortunately, I have to let it go. because it always comes down to sound quality and not looking cool or having something that feels good. It's just all about sound quality. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.